Here is a diesel engine that produces 130 horsepower. This DS7 is the performance line.
I have to say, bravo!
Woo! So over here is the glove box of the DS7, guys, but it just won't open.
Now, when it comes to French car manufacturers, they have a blessing for doing one of the best small cars ever. So they do one of the best hatchbacks, one of the best cars for city friendliness. But when it came to the premium segment, French car manufacturers have a reputation for innovation, but at the same time a reputation for struggling and then eventually disappearing from the public. A popular example would have been the Citroën DS, everyone. And then you have models from Peugeot, which I've never heard of, but apparently they existed at one point in the premium segment. We're talking back in the 60s and in the 70s. And then also Renault was another example that tried this. Renault won't be of any relevance when discussing about the DS automobiles. But I'm just going to point out about Renault because at one point they did try something in the premium segment, but it went horribly wrong. Over here is the second generation DS crossback. Actually, this is called the DS7, but it was previously known as the DS7 crossback. Now, it's something really important I mentioned because the DS Automobiles is basically supposed to be the premium manufacturer for the PSA group, now also known as Stellantis. So this player is supposed to be something dominant in the EU market, okay? Stellantis has other premium manufacturers, but they are global. But DS Automobiles at the moment, from what I recall, they have strong presence here in the EU market. Are they promising enough or not? You all be the judge, because initially DS Automobiles started off as just a trim level, a high-end trim level for Citroën cars. But then slowly they emerged, guys. They played their game better. They just got better at things. And then eventually they released some models which I don't know about, because the thing about PSA Group cars is that they go extinct very quickly without any explanation. One day they will be visible, and the next day they just vanish. The name DS is a direct reference to the Citroën DS, but it's very hard to spot some relevance with the car itself. Like when you look at DS Automobiles cars, sometimes they'll have references to ancient Citroën models, like the Citroën SM, the Citroën DS, the Citroën CX, the Citroën XM, and then sometimes you'll see relevance with Peugeot models, really, or shall I say, historic models from Peugeot or Citroën. But now, in wake of Stellantis, do not be surprised if you do see some Fiat Chrysler aspect to this car. Alrighty everyone, this DS7 crossback costs 51,000 euros. Is this good value for money or not? We're going to find out in a moment, everyone. Let's get on with this review right now.
Is a diesel engine that produces 130 horsepower. Alright, so the presentation of the engine is rather interesting because when you talk about premium manufacturers, most premium manufacturers, especially the Germans, they like to present it really nicely, okay? So they would put some hard plastic on top with the company's badge on top. But it seems like the DS Automobiles, especially the PSA group, they rushed over here. It's just wires everywhere, and this is not even covered. Just wires and tubes everywhere, guys. Now this is rather questionable. It's not very clear as to who exactly this DS7 is competing against, but one thing that is really clear is that it looks far more interesting than what the Germans offer. But just because it looks far more interesting, it does not mean it is actually far more, qualitative as the Germans. Everyone, the front design of the DS7 looks very interesting. Now those headlights and the overall presentation of the front looks exactly like Peugeot for some reason. In fact, it reminds me of the Peugeot 208. History, this could be a direct reference to Citroën models like the CX. Whenever I see those headlights, the way it's presented, especially with this little frown right here, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Citroën CX. But now as for the grille, Citroën never had proud grills historically, so I am assuming this directly is a reference to Peugeot. Now, the idea of having triple headlights, this has to be something to do with the Citroën SM. Peugeot and now DS, they have a thing for these LEDs at the front. Now, this DS7 is the performance line. There are other trim levels for this DS7, but this particular one is a performance line. Now, performance line is the sporty trim level for DS automobile cars. So it's like how Mercedes has AMG, Audi has S-Line, and BMW has M-Kit or M-Pack or M-Line, you name it, guys. So basically with this DS automobiles, this is a performance line, and when you choose the performance line, you get to choose black alloys, and you get to have some certain styles, or it has certain effect to the design, especially with the interior, with the Alcantara seats and everything, but we'll cover that later, everyone. Now let's just take a moment and admire those lightings, guys. Now this is supposed to be a reference to La Louvre, the Musée de la Louvre in Paris. I don't know what is it with Stellantis, but I've noticed that a lot of Stellantis cars are starting to have this alloy with plastic pieces. It's plastic pieces, guys. You get parking sensors at the front and at the rear, and you also get keyless entry for the front doors and also the rear doors. Now, the DS7 is very promising by its style, guys. It looks really unique in its own ways. It looks like an evolutionary version of its last generation, but just somewhat more stylish to some extent, especially with the lightings, guys. But then along the line, I did notice some questionable aspects. And the first questionable aspect I'd like to remark, guys, is that for price of 51,000 euros, you do not get a 360-degree parking camera. Another problem I'd like to remark, guys, is that despite the price of 51,000 euros and despite it being a performance line, you still get presence of hard plastic over here and down there, and it gets even more conspicuous as you approach the rear. So I was just wondering, why didn't the PSA Group just go with piano black plastic, like something like this material? Same material as this. I don't quite get what's the purpose of this sort of design. I mean, it looks like an imitation of an exhaust, but it's not an exhaust. All right, everyone, time to explore the interior of this DS7. But before doing so, let's just admire the design, how gorgeous it looks. Already, I see some wonderful things. Electric seating adjustment with seating memory and lumbar support. And also, the door is pretty long, so it covers this area of the interior, which means on a muddy day, you are in security. Wow.
Ooh, exciting moment, everyone. Interior of the DS7. Now, interior of the DS7, everyone. First impression, I have to say, bravo. Woo! This looks amazing. The Toyota RAV4, okay, there's a price of the Toyota RAV4 that costs similar to 51,000 euros, and there's certain crossover SUVs that have a similar price tag. The biggest advantage I see of this DS7 is the style. The interior looks like it's worth beyond 100,000 euros. Even Mercedes does not bother giving an interior as pretty as this. Alcantara everywhere. Oh, but reliability, quality, no? Yeah, that's where the problems or questions lie. Now, reliability can only be judged in long terms. I like the way it's lined out. It's all sharp edge, so it seems like a blend of Peugeot mostly, because I know Peugeot likes to go all sharp edged. The technology that's present in this interior is exactly like what you've seen in other PSA Group cars, except I'm under the impression that this infotainment system is wider, and it's more downwards, whereas Peugeot likes to put it all the way up. Now, feel, guys, because this is a performance line, I don't know if it's necessarily because of performance line, but you get Alcantara all over this interior. And now, in terms of seating comfort, guys, in terms of way things are laid out, I don't know if it's just me, but there's a lack of symmetry. And I'm saying this because of experience with other PSA Group cars. So, for some reason, I feel like this whole thing over here tilts towards the passenger side. This has to be one of the most stylish crossover SUVs in today's generation.
Right here, everyone, the interior of the DS7. I have to say this interior has to be one of the most stylish for its price and segment. Really interesting. So, let's talk about the presentation, the trims. Alcantara everywhere. This has to be the first time I see too much Alcantara everywhere. It looks really nice. It looks really good, guys. It's really nice. Just good lining. Alcantara lining over here. Some leather touches on the side. Now, before we talk about the interior trim, let's also talk about the seating, guys. Now, there's something very surprising. The level of stitching I've seen in this interior is not as much as that of the German competitors. The German competitors are proud of their leathers. In fact, they have more stitching than a Louis Vuitton bag. And this car is not as interesting as a Louis Vuitton bag in terms of its seat. But it looks quite nice, guys. So, Alcantara in the middle. Alcantara is tradition for a sport kit, so that's already a plus. And then you also get this support right here. Really cozy, guys. Just what I need. Now, the interior is really nice. Presentation right here. Now, the thing about the DS automobiles is that they've put all the window controls right here. So there's no control over here, guys. The mirror controls are right there. So just like in the cars of the 2000s. But hey, it's cool. I like the presentation, all right? The presentation is really nice. And it's just right next to the lane assist and the button to open the rear door. This area has become simple. So no button, guys. Just, oh, the door handle over here, but the door handle is hard plastic. Oh well, doesn't matter. Otherwise, this area is really nice. So window controls right here. Center door lock right here. And then the back window button right here. Wonderful. And then you get driving mode over here, and this trim right here, which looks like it's metallic and everything. It's good. And your handbrake is also right there. And this is the traditional transmission for the PSA group. I've seen the exact same presentation in the Peugeot and Citroën. This infotainment system is wide compared to what I've seen of other PSA group SUVs. And then you get a digital instrument cluster. The quality of the infotainment is exactly what I've seen in Peugeot. So practically, this is a Peugeot 5008, but just very stylish. Steering wheel that aspires to be all sporty, but it isn't exactly as sporty, guys. But it's a nice try, okay? So I like the feel of it. Now, the feel of the steering wheel is extremely firm. It's just super firm, guys. Like, literally. Yeah, it is firm. But otherwise, I like the presentation of it. It looks stylish. This part is rather sporty. This is where you feel the sportiness. It's not enough to be stylish, guys. We have to cover some practicality solutions. Alright, so 12-volt socket, 2 USB points in there. Center console storage, guys. Rather deep, and I love the LED light in there. Reminds me just of Paris. 2 cup holders right here, guys. Quite conspicuous, but it would be nice if they were covered. And then a little storage space right here. I'm assuming that's for your keyless entry. Or your keys. And besides, this is a keyless start-stop, I believe. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I have to get used to it. The DS Automobiles is the only car manufacturer to put the start-stop button all the way up there, right next to the air vents. So for a second, it made me think this was the hazard lights, but the hazard lights are all the way down there. So just something I have to get used to. Now, we were going to cover the glove box, guys. Okay. I want this open. So over here is the glove box of the DS7, guys, but it just won't open. I'm trying to pull it down and it just won't budge. Okay, well, from what I can see over here, peeking, it looks deep. Now, PSA group cars and SUVs always have deep glove boxes. That's a plus. But just the fact that I can't really open the door of the glove box is rather questionable itself. The door bin is also rather nice. I don't think it can fit a big water bottle, although it can maybe. But it's not very deep, guys. Like, look at this area. It's all the way, it's just this much. Yeah, you all be the judge. But it's rather shallow, so it's easy to reach whatever's in there. Little storage space right in there. There's no holder up here for your sunglasses, guys. And there's no sunroof or panoramic roof. That lie with this interior is rather the fact that there's some things missing for a price of 51,000 euros. First of all, to put the buttons right here for the windows, yeah, that's something I have to get used to, because this is something I'm used to in the 2000s, but now the DS does this in the 2020s. Something I have to get used to. It's a stylish thing to do, but then also, there were presence of hard plastic at my reach, guys. Like, over here, it's hard plastic. Another problem can be the fact that the Alcantara is a little too much, that it does not really pair well with this area. Most manufacturers tend to put wood or aluminum for a reason, guys. Let's say you spill your drink by accident, or let's say some liquid spills over here by accident. The thing about the liquids is that they can stain the trim, okay? That's why manufacturers prefer to put wood or aluminum, but DS Automobiles just decides it's okay to put Alcantara right here. Now what can happen is, if something stains on this, it's going to be very difficult to get it off. So you just have to be careful, guys. Rear seat of the DS7, everyone. Really interesting. Same concept as the front, guys. Yep, nice window buttons. And now, see, now another thing that I found questionable, guys, this armrest right here. You have to pull it down like this. Otherwise you get two cup holders in there that are quite shallow, but you have to, there's no strap to pull this armrest down. Otherwise you do get air vents at the back, you do get a little storage right here, and you do get a USB point and back seat pockets that have, that are rather flexible. Storage space, let's put the seat down. Whoa, it springs down. That's quite nice, that's quite efficient. You get a lot of space in the back. All right, it's very good, lots of space in the back, guys. Now, it's going to be quite spacious if you have the seats down. Now, speaking of the rear, guys, this is the boot space. Nice presentation. So 12-volt socket, guys, and I like this floor is adjustable, so adjustable floor of the boot space, which creates additional volume for the boot. Now, these levers can fold down the rear seats. Very practical, guys. You get beacon of hope lighting at the rear. It's quite good as it has to be. The boot space is average for its price and segment, guys. It's quite nice. It's just what I expected, but just don't be surprised that there's less space maybe because this area is obstructed by the D pillar and also there's some bits of plastic sticking out, guys. Yeah. So yeah, it's just something you have to get used to.
Here's my conclusion of the DS7, everyone. I have to say that this DS7 is one of the most promising crossover SUVs of today's generation and in the automotive industry. And also, it's one of the most stylish SUVs you can find in today's generation, guys, and in the automotive industry, especially here in the EU market. But there's something I have to point out, guys. For a price of 51,000 euros, was this DS7 good value for money or not? You know what, guys? I think this DS7 is good value for money. I'm not about to say it's the best, but I'm not about to say otherwise. Now, here are my reasons, guys. It's got the style, it's got the looks, and it's got some history to it, guys. Rich history that links directly to the Citroën DS. But then that's the reason why I'm not inclined to say okay value for money. I think good is better than okay, and this is good value for money. But the reason why I'm not inclined to say that this is the best value for money crossover SUV is because some equipments were missing. My humble opinion, oh, I love it. Oh, I love this DS7, guys. You know why I love it? Because it reminds me of Paris, guys. You know, nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect, but sometimes you just have to appreciate things for the way they are. This DS7 is a sign of a new chapter for the PSA Group and Stellantis. They are trying to expand their competition here in the EU market. Isn't this better, guys? For a long time, I feel like the EU market was neglected by the automotive industry. The only people taking advantage here was the German competitors. And now Peugeot and Citroën, the PSA Group, have come up with something more interesting, guys. Something to participate in the premium segment. Now, it's true that the DS7 is probably not the most influential competitor, but it is getting there, guys. It's got the style, and this is certainly more interesting than what the German competitors offer if you're looking for style, guys. The interior was certainly as bright as Paris. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run, guys. And don't forget to check the links in the description for my car reviews, travel videos, and my creativity videos. I'll see you all next time. But before I go, I have a question to ask you all. Do you all like this all-new DS7? Or do you all have something to say about it? Or do you all prefer competitors? Let me know in the comments what you all think. I'll see you all next time. Bye.